Right, okay. Jerry's done his solo, and he builds up into the climax that builds the riff that brings the tune back in again, so it can be really solid. Right. Letter B for the last time, and then go into letter A. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Well, my name's Tony Haynes. I've got a long history in show business, I suppose you might say. I co-founded the Grand Union Orchestra, or Grand Union Music Theatre, to be truly accurate, about 40 odd years ago.
There was a time when I was the sort of go-to person all over the country for writing music for shows, and so that's partly why they're sort of dramatic. I wanted to do a piece about migration and exile, so I couldn't do that without having people who had experienced that as economic migrants or refugees or asylum seekers.
And so it wasn't even just a question of musicians and singers from other cultures, but it's actually musicians who have other experiences which are very common to Britons today.
In order to express a kind of universality, you actually need to be looking at the specific. My speciality or delight is writing full-scale shows which have a theme that runs through them, and artists whose experience represents what you're hearing.
Brecht's insistence that performers should have, wherever possible, lived experience of the characters that they were expressing or portraying. These are elements that go into the mix that became Grand Union Orchestra. One of the ideas of this particular part of the show shows a different way of working. I don't mind. If it's spontaneous, and well, it is spontaneous. So don't get hung up on arrangements, but just try and play the spirit of it, like I said earlier. So what I want is to intertwining figures from you two, listening carefully to each other, possibly coming from the bottom, but. That sort of shape of the rag, yeah? So just do what you can. So think very, very gentle. It's almost a mute one. Okay. Keep going around Lucy. Take account of the fact she's going to sing. I founded the Grand Union Orchestra in around 1980 with a number of colleagues and friends who worked in the more radical end of music and theatre throughout the UK. And I suppose the Grand Union Orchestra has been my life for, well, half my working lifetime. It's been a wonderful, I won't say vehicle, because you can't create it without all the other people involved in it. These are strange relationships that classical musicians or conventional musicians don't often realise, but it has quite a lot in common, obviously, with jazz, where the identity of the individual performer is crucial. There's no hierarchy, no particular role is more important than any other, except perhaps the structuring role or the overall role, which is very much mine, and which you get people to gather round as a kind of circle. So in this case, you have not only my own creative ideas, but actually carrying with you, it's a collaboration with, a good 20 musicians on a regular basis over 20 years, gradually meeting new ones. And it's wonderfully touching that in the current orchestra, at least 12 musicians who've actually been there since the beginning. Another day. The performances are extraordinary, but it's just kind of, I just don't know what to do, to be honest. I've done everything I can to make everything absolutely clear where things happen. I don't know, you're playing so well, but it's kind of keeping, it's so difficult.
I think everybody's sort of familiarising their problems.
I know, that's right. Just the day before the bloody show.
Come on, you can do it. 40 years. You just know how to do it by now. Come on, Governor. 14 years you've been doing it. Nah, never having that.
My name is Kevin Robinson. I've been at Grand Union for pretty much 40 years of its life, and I play trumpet and flugelhorn.
I think maybe Jerry should help out at that point.
Oh, Grand Union is such a unique outfit. I mean, the diversity alone sets it apart from most other things I work in. I mean, there's people from all over the world working in Grand Union. Chinese, Indian, South American, Caribbean, England, European. And of course the music is just so very, very special. Tony is a hugely talented writer, composer, and also he has written with certain people in the orchestra in mind. That being said, it's every time you take a break from Grand Union and come back to it, it's like putting on a pair of old slippers. It's very, very comfortable and a huge family affair.
Throughout the last century, most of the countries of South America struggled to set up representative, democratic governments, often in the face of powerful foreign interference. In Chile, the popularly elected government was overthrown by the army in 1973 and a military dictator installed. The president was killed and thousands of his supporters imprisoned or executed. Following a general amnesty a few years later, many of those who survived were allowed to leave Chile and settled as refugees in Europe and Australia. As so often happens, the new regime tried to ban all indigenous music and instruments. But the music of the Andes became a powerful symbol of resistance and a way of preserving the memory of those who disappeared.
During the 70s, I was very much caught up in not just regional theatre, which could actually be quite political. The Everyman in Liverpool, for example, was one of those theatres that deliberately wanted to appeal to a working class audience. Similarly, there were a number of touring companies that wanted to do the same thing. Now, all this sounds extraordinarily worthy But in fact, it's not at all. It's all done with a light touch, and it's all the sort of joyousness and liveliness of people performing. And remember that these were extraordinary range of characters you would see in front of you. I have an idea of the kind of things that I would like people to think, which are to do with humanity and reconciliation, empathy and so on. But I can't tell them to do that. But what I can do, and with all the people I work with who are on common ground, is actually encourage that kind of response, which is more gentle and measured to a piece of art that sort of takes you out of yourself. If you want to have any chance of changing the world in any way, which is a pretty tall order, then that has to be part of it. It's not going to be through coercion. It's not going to be through slaughtering millions of people. I don't think we treat art seriously, to be honest. I don't think it's funded, as it were, for what it does. It's something for its own sake. And if it wasn't art for its own sake, then we wouldn't have all this art of the past either. It doesn't survive because it's been good for nationalists or for the economy or whatever. It survived because it hits people in the right place. And that could be through humor, could be through joy, it could be through dancing, it could be through misery and tragedy. They all belong together.
I must remember if giants are around. See if giants is around somewhere.
I keep watch. I am invisible.
Then we need to go. Keeps going. So we take out the first two bars. Actually, that's really nice. I think that's probably not the right song. I was thinking
It's sort of getting away from the literalness, I suppose, of the world in which we live at the moment. And it just shows infinite, for me, infinite possibilities that gently and with our imaginations and our persistence and our integrity, then we can actually make the world a more hospitable place.
My name's Victoria Cooper and I'm a singer. I joined a choir when I was about 12. I've been doing it since I was a kid. I sing with a bunch of different bands, sing in the theatre sometimes, and sing with Grand Union. I couldn't tell you when I first started singing with Grand Union because it feels like forever, but Tony called me up because I'm half Portuguese, I speak Portuguese, and he was looking for someone that could sing the Portuguese lyrics in one of the songs that Grand Union do. Tony's got a real connection with Lisbon and with Portugal, and it felt like being more of a part of that. And the songs they're really meaningful. It's like it really has like depth to it, and yeah, singing in Portuguese feels a little bit like coming home.
Your country once was a land of trees.
Outside of Grand Union, I don't really do much jazz, so this is really nice to have like a mix of world and jazz. It's a different way of working and thinking, and it's great to like hear the solos, make space for all of that. Grand Union has felt like something solid that's gone on for like a long time, and it's really great to be part of, the family, basically. Yeah. It feels super welcoming. Like every time you do a Grand Union gig, everybody knows your name, everybody's like pleased to see you and asks what you've been up to, and it feels really supportive in that way. I mean, I think the Grand Union projects are really important because like they really do look at, you know, the social structure of society and like, you know, all sorts of different issues like across the world, and it's really great to use art as like a mirror to reflect what's going on, because you invite people in for the joy of it, and then there's something also to be said to take home and to think about and to like, you know, go in, absorb. Tony is a powerhouse. I can't believe that he just does all the things that he does and keeps everything going and constantly providing everything for everybody. He loves the music and the people, and you really feel that, and he cares so much. Sometimes like things feel tense, but it's because he just has so much passion for it.
Grieving fathers, weeping mothers, bewildered children, no one to comfort them. There is no comfort left. Burn the incense, cover your head, cover the stench of blood and the rotting dead. Come away now.
Sounds like Chris. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
You thought it was Chris?
Part of the impact of the music is that the music in and of itself, if you pay no attention to the lyrics, grabs you enough to draw you in. It's an amazing band, loads of great musicians, a huge variety of different textures, instrumentation, and loads of different singers doing all sorts of different things. And then if you stop and listen and get absorbed in the songs, the narrative thread that is throughout each and every song, you'll realise that there's so many themes and important ideas that are presented. So there's something there for everyone to reflect on. I think it's amazing that such a joyous group deals with such a lot of stuff that could be really miserable, but it's not. Like, you always leave feeling hope. There's like a little seed of hope through it all.
My name is Yusuf Ali Khan. When I was 10 years old, my father passed away. When he passed away, my family thought one day I'm going to be a doctor or engineer or something. But anyway, just I want to be a singer.
Come on, Shabai! Come on, Shabai! Come on, Shabai! Come on, Shabai!
First I met Grand Union, I used to work for Brand Music Service. Tony, Jerry, Louis, some of Claude, they came to Queensbury School. I was teaching there, then Tony asked me, "Oh, you play tabla? Well done. Would you like to play with us?" So, from 1988, the history with Grand Union. Since then, I never go back. Tony, sometime in the high school, 300-400 people in the high school. My English was so bad. When I say something, they used to laugh. Tony said, "Go on, you talk." And that is the way he encouraged me every single time when Tony said, this is your time is coming, you need to talk to them. And I start sweating. He encouraged me so much in my music career. I never forget. And he's a wonderful person.
What's also very unusual about it, I find it very flattering that the musicians themselves, and remember there are about 30 or 40 pretty regular ones, refer to it as a family because of the way everybody works together. While I'm the dominant composition element in it, it's not at all in the way that you write for an orchestra and you put the parts up in front of the musicians and tell them what to do. It's actually the whole process between everybody, not just me and the other musicians, is one of give and take. The ideas that I would like to put over as a creative artist depend entirely on working with the artists who perform it.
Tony is like he's a wonderful person, but I always feel like he's father to me, father figure to me. He teach me so many things in life, as a music, as a person, as a talking, as a guiding me. I love everyone. I love every Grand Union member, absolutely as a family.
I don't know whether you're going to one. Danny, I think probably don't play that at that point. The bass might come in later. This is, to be honest, getting really hard. I think we've got to simplify.
Rehearsals with this orchestra can be a bit chaotic and frustrating sometimes.
Okay, we'll do it again. And can you please do it seriously? This is no expression. This is terrible. What are you talking about? Why are you arsing around? Yeah. Can you be stronger as well? Yeah. And I really like you all to think about what you're singing and do it properly. You're wasting our time.
And then she sings round once and we don't play, or do you want us to?
No, what he said, you sing round, so when she sings, you will know where you are on the part.
I don't know where I am on the part.
Well, because you know where she, then find out where she sings.
That's the short phrase at the beginning of the long phrase where there's a break. Yeah. So don't jump in when it's... If we're not repeating that longer phrase, that's...
Comes next.
I don't know how to... I have my hand in the air.
Yeah.
If my hand's in the air, I'm going on. Ileguaco, imo yuba ileguara. Ileguaco, imo yuba ileguara. I thought you did ileguara.
No, he says as long as his hand is up, shut up. Okay.
Ileguaco, imo yuba ileguara. Ileguaco, imo yuba ileguare. Baralo yudo, bara ileguara. Ago ileguara. Ileguaco, imo yuba ileguara.
The band sounds terrific. The singers sound terrific. But what I'm concerned about is where the attention is. The attention, of course, is always going to be in the soloist. So dancing behind Louise is not a good idea. I'm sorry.
I probably wouldn't regard myself as a jazz musician, and the work that I do as a composer and musician goes kind of beyond that, but incorporates that. So jazz spreads its tentacles everywhere. Huge influence on me when I was 13 or 14 growing up.
improvising, in fact, from then. And obviously making a living, too, because in those days you play in dance bands on Fridays and Saturday nights all over. But I also think that's how the music lives and grows, too, through live performance. And those opportunities need to be there for young musicians. Jazz isn't a genre or specific sort of sound. It's an attitude to music making, really, an approach to music making that can encompass anything. So that's sort of the classic of New Orleans 100 years ago. And I think it's like London today, and we're surrounded by people from virtually every culture, country in the world, and that's where the vibrancy is, I think, in the different forms of music. And what I like to do, and I've done for really 30 years now, is explore that, bring all that together. No artist gets by, really, without improvising, without kind of constantly changing, ducking and diving. You can form your improvisations into sequences which tell stories or a narrative. It's not an art in itself for me, but something that is a kind of life art.
So many old, this is an old traditional Ghanaian stuff. That's so many different patterns that if we put it, oh gosh, we'll be. When the people hear it, they're gonna be, whoa. This is, he just played keeping the time. Look at
because when you keep it to that level, you give yourself. You give yourself.
This one, the people there, they're gonna go, whoa, what is this? Well, this is crazy.
So if you start the beginning part, you want to understand.
Yeah, no one understands.
Yeah. Play the beginning
No
part,
one understands.
it's not happening. So don't play this.
Yeah, where's the one?
I know one is there, but I hear it.
With Grand Union, improvisation and flexibility is paramount, really. I mean, one of the things we're often being told by Tony is that the notes are there just as a guide, and would just feel free to do, within reason of course, what you want with them. So we do, and there's a lot of freedom within the boundaries of the compositions for improvisation, individuals and as sections.
Hang on a minute, Mr. Chavez. That was absolutely right.
Are you going to play that strong chord on the one?
Yes? Well, that's the chord that they all start singing. Burn the incense, cover your head, cover the stench of blood and the rotting dead. 2, 3, 4, 1.
Our souls
Okay. And I'm very good. That's got something now. It's got to be like, I'm sorry to speak like this, but it's a question of, there is discipline as well as joy and lightheartedness. And this, for me, this whole show has made all these extremes, it's partly old age and all that, even wider apart. And the things that I want to do properly, I'm going to insist on doing. And your joy and your pleasure in the music will be all the greater, I hope.
You have to lie down for 2 days after you originally arranged it. Really
these things are not possible without the extraordinary performers you can work with. This is what gives you the obviously the pleasure and the, as you say, pride in it, but it's there. They're the proud ones.
But I mean, the coming together of all of these cultures is a brilliant time, very timely this year.
Well, it is something we've been doing for quite a while. It really is the ethos of the Grand Union Orchestra, which is telling the stories of the people. And why it's so moving is that you could actually believe that the people you're hearing singing, they're telling of their life is unfolding in front of you, if you see what I mean. And it has an authenticity about the music.
If there's anyone watching this that hasn't seen the band before, come and see the band. Come and see this orchestra. It's mind-blowing, seriously.
My name is Sarah Begg and I'm here with Adam Sutcliffe, and we are the trustees of Grand Union, and I know we speak on behalf of all the other trustees as well to say that we have been absolutely inspired by what Tony has done over this weekend, and we feel particularly excited to say to Tony with our sincerest heartfelt that it's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done.
I think we've forgotten kind of ancient English customs. Don't you pluck one of these and throw it up? Yeah. And could it be the next leader of the orchestra?
All of a sudden, there's a big gap. I've got the name. That's why I'm here. Yeah,
right. Anyway, thank you very much indeed, all of you. Lovely audience.
Music is like in a dark place, tiny bit of small light, then shine. Tony's is like that. Give us a light, we glow.